Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on that Freeform Network. Remember to follow us on Facebook at X at Freeform Network. Send in those questions and suggestions, ffnquestions@gmail.com. But again, for Freeform Radio, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. My name is Daniel. We got Andy today.
It's all good, Andy. I hope everybody enjoyed the holidays or Thanksgiving, and we got Christmas just around the corner. So I hope everybody's having a good time.
Heck yeah. And then we got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Just trying to do my best to stay warm here as it gets colder and colder in Chicago.
Heck yeah, man. I just came out of church, and that was the one thing the pastor said. He's like, oh, you guys are all blessed. Come in here in this cold weather when it'd be so much easier to just stay warm, snuggled in your house. So it definitely is cold out there. Winter is finally here. We got kind of spoiled, man. Winter came kind of late this year, but it's here nonetheless. And so is this podcast, man. We're going to jump into it. Andy, college football is wrapping up. Tell us about the rival week celebrations. How's it going, man?
So, with the Bears getting rid of Eberflus and like stinking up the joint the last 6 games.
Oh man, I thought we were gonna go without even talking about it, but I guess
no, man, we gotta bring that up. But I still got college and I got Notre Dame, and as of this recording, it's rivalry week. It's the last full regular season for college football, and that's when people play a lot of their rivals, the biggest rival games like Notre Dame plays USC. Alabama plays Auburn. Miami, the game, Ohio State versus Michigan, and so on, in state rivals. That's a big part of college football for over 100 years. I got to say this year's celebrations have gotten a little crazy. So, I don't know how much college football you guys watch, but this year is the first time where there's always, every time one of the losing team, the winning team, if they're on it's a road game. So you kind of started seeing it a couple of years ago where they plant their college flag in the middle of the field. And but this year, like it's this Saturday, a lot of the road teams won, and they would plant their flags or whatever on the middle of the field of the team they just beat. And like they've been fighting and pushing. Like the big one was since I've been watching college football, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan won. They were big time underdogs, and they won. They were 20-point underdogs, and then they won, and they decided to plant their flag in the middle of Ohio State's at the Horseshoe, and like they started like fighting, pushing, and the police were involved, and they started macing people, the players. It was just like out of control. I've never seen that before. And then as the day went on, you saw other teams celebrating, and there was a lot of fights. The North Carolina Tar Heels versus NC State, they started throwing down. The Arizona game, Arizona versus Arizona State, they started like fucking fighting. It was just like an insane amount of teams playing. Texas and Texas A&M's were playing. They haven't played in over 11 years, but they used to play every year before they both left the Big 12 to go to SEC conference. And the players were starting to ready to go disrespect the logo on the center of the field because there was a road team, and the coach told them like push back, like, hey, go over there, party over there, don't party over this logo. So that being said, it's insane to me. Like, I don't know, part of me is like, you had a whole 60 minutes on the field to prepare to stop them. But the tensions were high. People were, like they say, they're passionate about this. I don't know. Part of me is like, oh, this is kind of disrespectful. But part of me is like, this was what makes college football so good. But obviously, you don't want to see the fighting, but it's gonna happen. You guys just thought about that, or do you know of it, or your thoughts if your team loses and they start partying or celebrating over your team's logo and a fight breaks out? I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I saw this pop up in my feed, and I hadn't really heard about it, but I know of it where other teams. I know it happened in the LFL just a few years ago, where the team scored a touchdown. They ran back to the middle and just like planted the football right in the middle, and it was seen as disrespect to the home team. So I know that teams do this on occasion, but yeah, it popped up on my feed. It showed some kid like trying to take
Yeah.
the flag away because I guess they started like beating him up or starting to try to rip the flag off his hands. So I saw a clip of that and I'm like, damn, what the hell is going on, man? It's just getting kind of crazy. But yeah, man, I could understand. It's to me, it's disrespect to do it if you're an away team onto a home team like that. But yeah, the way to defend against that is don't get beat. Don't get beat at home. But yeah, I guess stuff like that's just going to happen with competition.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of disrespectful to do what they do, but on the one hand, it's like Daniel said, it's like if you don't want that to happen, then don't get beat. And I guess it's just the nature of the game because like there might be another day where that other team gets a chance to do the same thing to somebody else's home turf, you know. So who knows, man? What goes around comes around. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's karma. There was some like I said, it is these college football's been around for over 100 plus years. I think 150 years. Think about that, right? Um, and like there was always like these unwritten rules and shit, and like I guess the civility of the game. I know I'm sounding like an old man, is kind of being thrown out the window. Another thing, like where they actually complained about this, and I heard some of it because Notre Dame took part of this where they were running up the score on certain teams, and that happened again yesterday. The Penn State Maryland game, the coach was pissed because they beat them up like 44-7 or something like that. And the Maryland coach went to the Penn State coach. He's like, "Why are you doing that? Like, why are you running up the score?" And they addressed the Penn State coach talked about it at the press conference. He's like, "Look, man, my job is to get points, and I'm not gonna. I got other players to think about the backups, and I want them to play because it's probably the only shot they might play, or blah blah blah." And some of the announcers at some of the games, I remember watching Notre Dame play this year, and I forgot the team, but I remember the announcer was getting upset. They shouldn't be throwing right now. Like they scored another touchdown, and I'm thinking like, part of me is like, yeah, he's right, but other part of me is like, they've done it against Notre Dame, and like, and people, I don't remember the announcer really making comments about it. It's just, I guess, it's a new era I mean, it's been around, but I think people are more vocal about it. Um, so I don't know. It's just the game is changing rapidly, and the gentleman's sport is, I like to think, is kind of out the window. Um, so it's just my thoughts on it. Like if yesterday, like the biggest game in college football, one of the biggest games of Ohio State versus Michigan, when Ryan Day got in there, he was talking about, oh yeah, they're gonna have to put in a mercy rule because I'm gonna score 100 points on them every game. So, like every time we play him, I want to put 100 points. It's just like he's part of it is the rivalry and rhetoric, but I think now that he's lost 4 games in a row against them, he might lose his job. But that's how just some of this stuff works and runs. And yeah, it's a culture change coming to college football. Part of it is this where you could see it changing. This happened once in a while with the flag stuff a couple years ago. You saw, and like this week, it was just like all over the place. And to me, it's like it's a changing of the guard. It's I don't know if it's for the better, to be honest with you. Like, hey man, you won on the road, live it up. But like this is just like another level. And if I was an opposing player, you know what? I think I would be out there too, saying "fuck this." I'm gonna start swinging because it is disrespectful. Um,
Does
and
this kind of stuff happen during regular games, or is it only because it's rivalry week?
it's rivalry. Just it intensifies. Like it's on
Okay.
the Ohio State, Michigan. Like everybody, like the game. It's over 100 years they've been playing. Like it's crazy. And like I've seen like where it gets intense and they play hard and they're chipping, but this it was a full out melee. Like they were swinging and people were getting knocked down. The cops had to mace people to get them to stop. They had players on side like getting like sitting on their knees because they couldn't breathe. They got maced. This isn't a college game. This isn't like some uh street stuff. And yeah, I mean it's like I said, this week, this year, and all my years of watching college football, it was pretty intense. I couldn't believe I was seeing it all across all the Power Four conferences. That was kind of shocking to me, and I know it's a lot of talk about it today, yesterday, about what's going on, and it's going to be interesting. I think this year they're probably going to make a rule saying you can't do that stuff no more. You're going to get fined. But we'll see what happens because when and this is only in college football. I mean, I know you guys don't watch it as much, but it is like I said, it's changing. Uh, the culture is changing quick. Like people, when you beat you're like ranked. You're not ranked, and the team you beat is ranked, and like everybody, the fans and the students charge the field. Like that's a part of college football. People, a lot of people know that the colleges get fined and all that, but nobody cares. But people are just celebrating. But this is like it's crazy. Like it was literally people fighting on the field, and then there was maced people getting maced. So I think that's why a lot of people are upset.
Yeah, to me, uh, to happen on the football field. That's got to be crazy. You could see outside when heated games go on. You see videos sometimes of like Green Bay games when fans are walking
Yeah.
out, getting beat up on the way home. So I know these fans, they get really into it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when think about like in baseball, the Cubs Sox games. I mean, Chicago gets. I mean, even when both teams suck, or people get worked up, and we've been to a couple. Like I remember going to a couple games, and if the people in the stands are worked up, I mean, if like it gets crazy and people start swinging. And then if they start fighting on the field, I feel like the fans eat off of that and it gets like intensified in the stands. Like it just gets out of control quickly.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm glad I've never had to deal with anything like that. I mean, I like cheering for my team, but I don't know if I'm gonna throw down.
I mean, it's really not worth it, man. The kind of trouble that you get in, like lawyers and stuff, you get arrested, or if you get hurt or you break something, somebody punches you and breaks your orbital bone, you're probably not even gonna be able to sue that guy because you're not even gonna know who it was. It's just a massive melee, just some
I
chaos, you
think
know.
the only thing that's gonna hurt is your pride, man, because you lost on the field and off the field. So that's the problem here. That's why like my final word is always like and this is like I always see the memes, and the memes are the best part of this. And I think someone posted you. I'm pretty sure you've seen like the European mind can't comprehend this. You've seen those memes, right? Like everything that happens in America. And one of it was that melee on the field yesterday. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's like this is a pure American thing here. Like it's just crazy to me. And Let us know what you guys think. I just can't believe, like, just this year was the worst I've seen, where people are like, players are throwing down on the field, and that whole flag planting thing. I think after this year they're gonna put a stop to it, because it was just all over the place in multiple games across all time zones, all conferences. So we'll see what happens, man. Let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com. But let's get this going to Noel. I see he watched classic film in 4K, Fistful of Dollars, a Clint Eastwood movie. How was the upgrade? I mean, just for a thought, I was watching TV and they had Unforgiven, movie from the 90s, and it was
Mhm.
just like not high quality even on analog TV. So I can't imagine uh, movies from the 70s on 4K. How, if they've done right, those movies look beautiful.
No, definitely, man. It is a little difficult to remaster some of these, and so I was a little skeptical when I bought it. But the 4K restoration is actually pretty well done. Um, it it did require me to tinker with the settings a little bit. Uh, as you know, it was filmed on film, and so there's like a certain
Mm-hmm.
graininess to it, and with that
Yep.
graininess, it gets more exposed when it's like a sharper image, or when you have the sharpness turned to high, which is typical on a dynamic setting, like a standard setting on the TV. So what I ended up doing is just bringing it down a little bit, the sharpness, and toning down a little bit of the brightness, because that brightness and combined with the sharpness made that grain really pop more than it should have. And I was able to see like the clouds in the sky, whereas before it was just like really grainy. But everything else, aside from the backgrounds that were kind of grainy, everything else was really clear, really sharp, really well preserved, I think. And it's just a good movie, dude. Arguably one of my favorites, any of the Western genre, is Fistful of Dollars. It was one of the first experiences I had of watching Clint Eastwood, and I grew up on some of these movies, so it was good to see it again. It's always like fun to watch too, man. Like it's yeah, I remember growing up like watching reruns and stuff of it. Anytime it came on, I just had to watch it because it's a cool story. And yeah, I watched the sequel as well. Well, it's not really a sequel, but they call it a sequel for a few dollars more. So it's essentially the same character, the man with no name. Although they do give him a name in the movie, which is surprising. But anyway, um, he's like a bounty hunter, and it was pretty cool. I'm sure you've seen both of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the restoration, and think about it, these are spaghetti westerns that Clint Eastwood became famous. I mean, he did some stuff, but I think that those movies helped him become what he is. And it was filmed, it's a spaghetti western, so I don't know, when you talk about the difficulty of restorations, especially if movies that were actually shot on film and like older film, and then European, like Italian film, I wonder um, what kind of issues they ran into, or like, like you said, what kind of issues they had with that type of restoration.
I've actually been pleasantly surprised because this is not like the first film movie that I've gotten 4K. I don't know if you know who Lucio Fulci is, like a horror director, or
Mhm.
Dario Argento, another horror director. I've bought a number of their films on 4K, up like restored from the original film, and they actually do a really, really good job. So that's why I was like giving, hope that these would be done well like that. And I would say for the most part, it is. Like I said, I did have to tinker for a little minute, which I mean is kind of what I like to do anyway. It didn't seem like a chore to me to do it. It took maybe like a minute at most to kind of just adjust some stuff, and then it popped out even better, and HDR, all that. So definitely the way to go.
Yeah, like I said, just I know when the DVD, the original films were going to Blu-ray, and people who would, some of the studios would take it seriously, and I just put it through some machine and just upgrade it. You could tell. like everything was popping. Like there was a big pop, and how clean and like dirty, and like you could see like the backgrounds is like you could tell they were on a set. Like it was just a different. I don't think some of those older movies were meant to be in HD or high definitions of 4K. What they're doing now, but real quick on the TV, when you tinker with the settings, have you ever thought about just bringing in an actual like TV settings guy? You know, there's people like that to help enhance the viewing. Like it's like actually it's an actual skill set. I saw like a documentary about it. Some people pay like they charge a good chunk of money to get those settings correct.
I mean, that's an interesting idea. You know, I haven't even really considered that. I don't know if it'd be worth it for my TV particularly because the settings that it comes with, you
Mhm.
can tinker. There's a limited amount of tinkering though. Whereas other TVs like LG, for example, my cousin Ismail has an OLED for that is LG, and that one has 2 to 3 times the amount of settings that you could tinker with. So
Mm,
for a TV like that, you know, that makes a lot of sense. But for mine, I could probably just look up on YouTube or see some tutorials or stuff like that,
yeah.
and save me a little money. Because at the end of the day, like I said, there's some tinkering, but it's not like above and beyond of what a person can capably do on their own. You know,
I mean,
it's
it's for home theater enthusiasts because there is um the colors, the skin tones, and like the background. I saw a documentary. I mean, it was like an hour long, but it was like you can see a difference when you hire one of these guys to come and like adjust the settings for whatever player. Like they ask all these questions, and then they can set it up for you. The black, the background, and it all depends on the equipment you got too. But there is a big difference.
I'm curious to see how different it would be because I can't even imagine like to me it's like it's subjective, right? How good it looks because
Yeah.
each person might want it to be more vibrant or maybe they want it to be more washed out or maybe more sharp and so everybody has their own like their eye catches like what catches their eye and their attention. So yeah, I'm curious to see what a person like a random stranger would be able to do that would look better than what I can personally do. I'm curious about it, but yeah, I have to see. I have to think about it and see if it's worth getting somebody like that.
Yeah, it was popular when the DVDs came out. People were because that's when you first started seeing about the home theater. And then I remember when they were trying to release DVDs with better, higher resolution and like the super bit DVDs, and like people claim they saw a difference. I personally didn't, but it was a thing for a long time. I don't know about now, but I'm pretty sure those people still exist.
Yeah, no, I'd assume for sure, man. Especially there's a lot of enthusiasts and in the physical media. Like, I definitely, it might be worth it to do it because I do really care about this stuff. But again, like, I'm just like, what if he does it? I spend money on it and I don't like the way it looks. I'm like, I want it the way I had it, Then it was for nothing. It's just like, I don't know. I'm on the fence with
No,
that, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that they're gonna ask you, and I mean, if it's the right guy, and then they want to know like equipment wise and all that. But to me, what I saw in this, the guy did like three of them. It was like night and fucking day. Like, but he was there. He charged like back then it was like 500-600 bucks. I can't imagine what it is now.
ooh, no, yeah, I don't think I'd be willing to spend that kind of money. Nah. Um, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated on more 4K stuff and all the settings that I tinker with in the future. Moving on to the next thing I've been doing. I've been playing Astro Bot. I don't know if you guys have heard of this game. It came out like a couple months back. It's based off the if you get a PS5, excuse me, if you get a PS5, it comes with a thing called Astro's Playroom, kind of how like the Sega Master System had Alex Kidd, the game built into it.
Dang.
kind of dating myself here with that,
Yeah.
that reference. But anyone that played it back in the day, you played that game that came with it, and it was kind of like that. So it was a cool little fun game to test out the technology, like how the controller works and the haptic feedback, all that stuff, right? So it was fun. And then when I heard about Astro Bot coming out, like the actual full-fledged game, not just like a tech demo, I was like, dude, I got to get this. And so I was testing it out. It's really fun, man. It's kind of addicting because it's just such an easy game to pick up and play whenever. So, you're having a rough day after work, you just pick it up, play for half an hour, whatever it is, and it's just fun. It's a cool game, and kind of like Sony's version of Mario. So which is cool because like now I don't need a Nintendo. I got Astro Bot. I don't need to get Mario anymore. Although down the line it would be cool to get a Switch, maybe the Switch 2. Definitely happy with the Astro Bot purchase for now, and it was actually on sale for the Black Friday thing. So have you guys ever played Astro Bot or heard of it?
I have not. No. I remember the kid one from the Sega. I remember like when you saying that it's definitely dated.
What about you, Daniel?
No, I have played Astrobot's Playroom, but not Astrobot. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's a new release, so I haven't played this specific one. But the Astro's Playroom, that's really awesome because you get to see the functionality of the controller with the haptic feedback. And I'm assuming Astrobots just takes that to another level. PlayStation 4 came out with its own Astrobots games, but they were stuck behind VR, so you needed the VR equipment. But I've
Ah,
heard a lot of good stuff about Astrobots. It's definitely a must pick up for me once the price gets a little more budget for me. But I'm excited. I keep hearing really good stuff, that it's a good platformer, a lot of nostalgia stuff for old PlayStation heritage stuff, like callbacks to old characters. So it definitely sounds very, very cool. And I can't wait to pick it up.
for sure, man. I think you're gonna like it, man. I remember back in the day playing the what is it, Little Big Planet or whatever, and Sackboy, all that stuff. Those are the other platformers, and it's right up there, man. Like I think it might even be contender for Game of the Year if I'm not mistaken. I think it might have been nominated or something like that. But yeah, definitely worth it. And like I said, I picked it up as a Black Friday deal. I think it's just like $10 off, so it's not like a huge deal, but it was worth it for me. I was like, dude, I got to pick it up. My niece and nephew got a chance to play it too, and they loved it. They're little kids right now, so it's like their first introduction. Instead of Mario, they get an Astrobot. So, I'm happy to keep that Sony family going. And actually, now I want to ask you guys: did you guys get anything for Black Friday?
Yeah, I picked up a few games myself, but yeah, man, Black Friday, picked up some new jeans, some comforters for the house because I'm an old man. Um, yeah, and Alana got some boots and a few other things, Christmas gifts. But yeah, it was pretty good Black Friday turnout. How about you, man?
Yeah, I picked up a few games as well. Shredder's Revenge, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I got a few titles here and there. And then you already know, man, I got a bunch of the 4K stuff because there was like some really good deals, dude. And some of these boutique shops, like they make these, they had like their own releases.
Hmm.
So I'm sure you heard of Scream Factory, Shout Factory,
Hmm.
all that stuff. And so
Shout.
that this other one that I got through Vinegar Syndrome. It's another boutique place, and Vinegar Syndrome they do a lot of B movies, but they also do some pretty good movies that I enjoy, like classic stuff. And there's one in particular that I had to get, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, and it's got Peter Cushing, it's got Christopher Lee, Donald Sutherland. It's got like some recognizable actors that are classically trained and stuff. Really good story. It's like a cool little horror movie, kind of like almost like a Final Destination meets Tales from the Crypt. It's pretty cool. It's interesting. And anyway, yeah, picked up those things. What about you, Andy? Did you get anything for Black Friday?
The only thing I bought was I was keeping an eye on media. Um, uh, uh, a couple months ago, I was looking at getting Mr. Robot because the show ended a while back, but it was like kind of pricey, and then they released or I shouldn't say they released a Blu-ray complete set. It was like one of those Amazon Blu-ray deep Black Week whatever nonsense. It was $30 for the complete series. So I bought that because I thought I watched the first season. I got really hooked, and I kind of stopped watching, and I wanted to see how it ended. I think you might have given it a review, Noel, if I remember correctly. And I was this close to buying a TV, but um, I went on Marketplace, and everybody got new TVs, so they're unloading their old TVs. Um, like they're cheap, so I might buy something on a new TV on Marketplace. I'm looking in particular at Samsung. Um, Nothing big, like a 50-inch, 55 max. I think I can get it for like $120, 150. The new one that I wanted was gonna be like 300, and I'm like, I probably get an older one if I look at a specific models I'm looking for. I could probably get one really cheap and not in bad shape.
Oh, for sure, man. Like right now, TVs like are at an all-time low in terms of
Yes,
pricing. So
yeah.
it's like the best time to get one, you
Like
know.
name brand ones too. Like I said, I'm looking at a
Yeah.
Samsung. There's a guy I messaged. He has like a 50-inch smart UHD Samsung smart TV. The guy initially asked for like 200. He's down to like 120. So I think I could get him at 100.
Ooh.
I messaged him, but he hasn't responded.
Yeah, dude. That's definitely worth it for $100. Like you really can't go wrong, dude. And if that TV lasts you a couple years, 3, 4 years, dude, that's worth your money, easy. Um,
Right. Like I
but
said,
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
some similar is like 300, 400, but yeah, let's see how it goes, man. Like I'm not in a rush. My old ass TV still working. It's getting hot. But now that winter's here, I don't mind it as much. But yeah,
Right?
it's just an old LCD, dude. My dad bought for Good Friday now, going over a decade ago, like 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, probably. And but yeah, it's starting to act up. It's just getting hot, and now I'm like, this thing is gonna get like burnt out soon.
Hey
Yeah.
Noel, did you get Silent Hill during the Black Friday? I know it's going for $30 right now at Walmart.
I actually got it when it came out. I
Oh, okay.
pre-ordered that one, so I got it already, and unfortunately, yeah, I paid full price for it.
Oh,
But
okay.
uh, but it's fun, man. Actually, I'm surprised I haven't talked about it yet. Maybe on the next episode, I'll fill you guys in on how I've liked it. Did you end up picking that up?
Yeah, I ended up picking it up, but I haven't played it. I'm playing another one right now that I'm like halfway through, so I'm just gonna stick it out. But yeah, I picked it up for Black Friday, and I heard a lot of good stuff, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say and then play it myself.
Oh, for sure, man. No, well, yeah, I mean that pretty much wraps up my week, man. Let's move it over to you, Daniel. And so it looks like you've been getting into the whole Batman franchise. It looks like you've been watching a few things related to Batman. What did you think of the movie with Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, I watched the Batman movie. It came out a few years ago now, 2022. So it's been a minute that it's been out, but for whatever reason, I was kind of holding off on it. I heard it was like a 3 hour event, so it was the time actually, how long the movie is, was kind of holding me back from really watching it. So unfortunately, I was holding off, but finally broke down. And the reason why is that I watched the Penguin TV show, and because of that, and I know that they share the same universe, it got me like, man, I really want to watch Batman now. But yeah, after watching the Batman, it was good, man. I actually liked it. It was long, and it was times where I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of drawn out. You could have probably cut this, and this is a little drawn out. You could have cut this a little bit, to where I was like editing their movie as I'm watching it and thinking like these parts are a little redundant or it's not needed this long drawn out dramatic. But it was good, man. I dug it. I can't remember. Did you watch this one, Noel?
Yeah, actually, that's the one that I watched not only in theater, but I also bought the 4K and I watched it as well. And I really enjoyed it. I thought he brought like a new, fresh take on it. Definitely a younger, more like not even like inexperienced Batman is the way I would word it.
No, yeah, for sure. It does bring a different, not the Dark Knight So it is different. It's a little darker, I guess I could say, more dramatic.
Are
I like
darker than the Nolan movies.
well, darker in image because
Oh,
that's like darker, but like more comedic. This is more darker, like triple X dark, but not tronando and shit like that. It's just darker.
I just
Um,
real quick. The other thing I remember about that, I haven't seen it, is just it was the Batman logo and it was like red, right? Like it had a red background. And the only thing that popped in my head was like they're trying to make like Batman Beyond or something, but it got like mediocre reviews, what I recall. So it's on my list to watch, but I'm in no rush to watch it.
yeah, I was kind of the same way. I heard a few bad things, mostly about the playtime, so I was holding off. I've had it for a while, but finally sat down and watched it, and I enjoyed it. So I'm glad I did watch it, put the time in. The Riddler steals it. I think he's an awesome character in the universe.
Kayfabe, bro.
And to me, I think he's awesome in the movie. Everybody knows the Riddler's in it, right? Am
I
I?
didn't know that. You just told me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
It's
it
only
was in the
been 2 years, then
commercials.
it's okay.
Well, in the poster, it has a big question mark on the
Does
on the
it?
poster. Yeah.
I think you're
So
thinking of the Val Kilmer movie.
no, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now, and it has the main characters on the front page, and it has a big question mark in the center.
It's
Uh,
almost like crosshairs.
yeah, for sure. It almost makes you feel like it might be Bullseye. But yeah,
Mm.
the Riddler's the main character, and he's really steals the show along with Batman. Batman is also played right. I don't like too much of his grittiness in his voice. He almost wants to be like the previous Batman. I forget what actor was playing that guy.
Christian
Christian
Bale.
Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. He almost wants to do that, like I'm Batman, and it's just like you don't have to be so growly with it. But I liked it. It did good in the box office. I mean, this thing was like a $200 million film, and it grossed over 700 million. So definitely made its money back and some. So, but I did hear a lot of the negativity, like you said, Andy. So, uh, I think if you watch it, I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you're a Batman.
And it's a 3 hour epic.
What's this thing say? 176 minutes. So yeah, it's
Man.
take a piss before you watch it because your bladder's gonna be tested.
Dude, like real quick, like I always like when I got a minute to myself, like the other day I finally watched Deadpool and Wolverine. It was 2 hours plus. I'm
Yeah,
like, it's a
yeah,
fucking comedy movie, like or like somewhat action. Like, why is this so long? And I watched that, and then the other one I really want to watch is The Flash, but that's like like really long movie, right? And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to commit to this just because it has like all these cool cameos and multiverse Earths and all this, and that's why I'm just like, I'll watch it some other day.
yeah. I dug the Flash. I thought that was a good one too. Uh,
Nah,
e- Even though it looks a little convoluted, I think they like pieced some parts together because they were having problems with the actor. You like that one too, right, Noel?
The Flash is the one that I didn't want to like because of the actor, because he was so controversial. He had like a lot of bad
mhm.
like stuff that happened behind the scenes. But it wasn't the worst movie or nothing. It was just there were things I would have done differently, but I like the Flash as a character, so like I had to see it. It was
Right,
worth it.
right. I mean, it ain't to Andy. It ain't no Citizens Kane, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's no
I,
Avengers Endgame, you know. Yeah, we like isn't Deadpool and Wolverine he kept joking about, and
no,
to
that
me it
one was
was
good. Yeah.
that was an ode to like all those Marvel Fox movies is what I got for it.
Yes.
Minus Blade was just thrown in there.
No, I
But
thought that was cool for sure. Yeah.
I liked how there's like so many like things. The only thing that it's like Daredevil died or something. She's like and Elektra's like it's okay because that's like her
Right.
ex-husband.
Yeah, because they got divorced in real
Yeah,
life.
I was just like damn.
Yeah, that was a pretty good. I actually just rewatched it with Alana because she never had seen it. I went with my brothers and nephews to go watch it in the theater, so Alana didn't go with us. But yeah, it still holds up. It's really good, and it does run a little long, but it's all worth it for sure. But
Even they
yeah,
make a joke about that in the movie.
right, right. But yeah, jumping on back into my Batman escapades. Yeah, Batman, good movie. Watch it. Just make sure you got an empty bladder before you start it. But what started that off was I watched The Penguin. So I watched it kind of out of order. I watched The Penguin first, which is actually after the Batman movie. And the Penguin character is played by Colin Farrell, and he puts on all this like prosthetic stuff to look, like a big dude, like a fat guy, and he pulls it off, man. I never once saw Colin Farrell as the Penguin, and he convinces you that he's the Penguin. And the whole universe was really cool. It was really drawn out, giving you a lot of backstory to the Penguin, Oz Cobble, and it was really good, man. For I think, yeah, HBO, and I really dug it, man. I don't know if you guys watched The Penguin, especially you, Noel. I know you're into this universe. Not sure if you had a chance to watch the Penguin TV show.
No, not yet. But I hear it's like one of the top rated shows right now, possibly of the year. So I'm definitely gonna watch it. And now that you've given that green light review here, I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna sit down and watch it now.
Come on, Noel. Come on. It's a Danny review. You can give
No,
it
no,
that.
this is good, man. I mean,
And
it's
Danny
eight.
rarely says shit is good, and now you're like, I gotta watch this.
No, it's 8 episodes, so it's not a big commitment. 8-hour episodes. The only thing I didn't care for the ending, and not so much of how it happened, the ending, but what happened. And it's really understandable as far as the characters that are in the scenes at the end. Um, so I understand it. I just didn't care for it as a human person. I just like, man, this is bad. I can't believe these characters are doing these things. So other than that, I really dug it. I'm not sure where they're gonna go with it for season two because expecting they're gonna have a season two because it's getting good reviews, it's getting critically acclaimed. So I would assume there is gonna be a season two. But yeah, man, good 8 episodes. Really dug it.
Let me ask you this, Danny, real quick. I got a couple of Twitterverse bubbles I'm in. One of them is Sopranos and stuff like that. I did notice a lot of the Sopranos fans were saying that they made the Penguin look like Tony Soprano. Did you get that vibe from that? Now that I'm telling you, or is it? And I saw some of the pics. I'm like, I think they are trying to make him like Tony Soprano.
Totally 100%. It's like
Yes.
Sopranos. Yeah, he's like this mob boss. It's like Goodfellas because he's funny, but then he's ruthless and he's really big in presence. So it's totally a Tony Soprano ripoff. But I can take that for Penguin because in certain Penguin universes, he's like a clown, not a clown like the Joker, but just like he's just to make fun with, and he kind of just jokes around. But in some universes, he's like a big time guy, and he's got like that mob personality where he demands respect, and that's how they played it in this universe. And I think it's if you like Sopranos, Goodfellas, stuff like that, you'll get the hints in here, and it's really good, really well put together. Good cast of characters and a good storyline all put together.
Yeah,
The
sounds
the
interesting.
the last thing that I watched in the Batman universe was just yesterday, and this one's even more controversial as far as who likes it and who hates it. The sequel to Joker, I don't even know how to pronounce the subtitle.
Fully I do.
Folie Duel.
I do.
Yeah, to me,
Salud.
to me, I liked it. I liked it. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think a lot of people are gonna like it, but I myself liked it. I can respect what the movie is trying to do. First of all, did you watch this, Noel?
I have not, man.
Okay.
Yeah, that
All
I
right.
heard mixed reviews, but yeah.
All right. So I don't want to spoil too much, and I'm assuming you didn't watch it, Andy. But
You're correct.
I'm cool with
This,
spoilers. No worries, man.
well, I guess the only spoiler I'm gonna say is that you really gotta like musicals because there's a lot of musical pieces in it. It's like one of the coping mechanisms that the Joker uses, and they actually visualize it and vocalize it, obviously, because they're singing in the movie. So it's just another aspect of the Joker character as far as the singing. So it's almost like you're watching a musical. But I dug it because I understood what the movie's trying to do with the musical aspects of it. But a lot of people got turned off because they're like, man, I want to see the Joker blowing up shit and killing people. I don't want to see him singing. But if you take it in the context that it's inside of Joker's head and this is the stuff that he's kind of visualizing to cope with living in the world, I think it does serve its purpose. The storyline is good. I think it's kind of sad to see it because I know you didn't dig this from the first movie, Andy, with the first Joker, but it really hammers down the mental illness of Joker and the character and him dealing with society, and it really hammers that in. It's basically the Joker on trial, and the start of the movie really builds that he has a split personality where he's Arthur Fleck and he's
Hmm.
also the Joker, and there's like these two sections of his personality. And the funny part, the movie starts off with this little like mini movie at the very start. That's really funny. I don't want to give it away, but it also like blatantly tells you about this like split personality that the Joker has. But yeah, me and Alana watched it yesterday. It is not doing very well. It was like 200 million, and it's barely cracked even just recently. So it's not doing terribly well. And movie companies are not in the business to just make their money back. They're looking for like three times their returns on what they invest. So my guess is we're probably not going to see a Joker 3. It's probably going to end here, I would assume. But who knows, man? Who knows what's to come? I think Joaquin Phoenix plays a good Joker, but the little bit that I heard is this Todd Phillips didn't want to make another movie, and the studio kind of forced him with the popularity from the first one. Because the first one, I think, if I remember right, was like 100 something million, and it grossed like $1 billion. So it made a ton of money for the studio, and yeah, I liked it. I think the Harley Quinn aspect was pretty cool. Not really utilized a lot. Harvey Dent shows up, so really good Batman stuff in it, minus the Batman, but really good universe stuff that was in there in the Joker movie. So if you're cool with musicals, you're cool with seeing the mental illness aspect of the Joker because you really see a lot of that. I think you're gonna dig it, and I think it's gonna be a good movie. I'm not sure if it's on your to watch, Noel. It sounds like you're kind of on the fence with it.
You know what? I have it ready to go, digitally, so I'm probably gonna watch it actually, because I wasn't really put off about it being a musical. There are some good musicals out there, and I've enjoyed a few of them. So I'm gonna give it a chance, and especially now that you worded it that way, that it's all in his head, it makes sense. Like in the first one, when he had the stand-up comedy and he was like
Yeah,
up on stage, I'm like, that was so cringy, but that's in his head, so it's not
right.
really happening. So I get it. So I'm gonna give it a chance.
Yeah, I think if you go with it with that mentality, I think you'll understand it. Now, obviously, Andy, you had mentioned you didn't really care for the mental weakness.
Yeah,
I
it was
forgot.
weird. The first one, I think I got like halfway through it and I kind of stopped watching it. And I'm like, I'll get back to it later. I never did because it was just, yeah, the whole mental illness and like, yeah, it's just people fucking with him. It's really dark. And um, yeah, I mean, you knew Joker was cruel, but like, I don't want to see how he got to that point because he's messed up. He's a messed up guy, messed up character. So. And then this one, yeah, people have been all over the fence about it, and I that's not the first time I heard about the musical and stuff like that. And then the whole Todd Phillips didn't want to make it, and kind of forced him. So they're saying like he kind of did all this music just to fuck with the studio, and But I don't know if that's the case, because then why would they release it? Going the track record that the Warner Brothers had with other movies and reshoots and cutting and re-editing. So I don't know. I don't know the whole story.
Yeah, definitely a must watch. I'm assuming it's going to come on Max soon, but that kind of leads us into our article of the week. All right, guys. So our article for today, I found this on mirror.uk webpage, and I saw a few other articles really concerning this, because I just ran across this actually a week or so ago, but I didn't know if you guys knew, but Netflix has a paywall that restricts some of their content that's on their service, their streaming service. So the article kind of goes more into it, but basically, people who pay for the ad version of the Netflix, which I gotta say, all my subscription services, I got a few, Netflix, Hulu, and Paramount. All of them are with ads, and to me, it doesn't bother me. I grew up in that generation. Maybe it bothers people more nowadays because they're so instant that they want to see the content. But to me, it doesn't bother me. So, and I'm cheap as well, so I don't mind paying to see ads. But I ran across Netflix where there was something that I happened to just go across, and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind seeing this. And it had a banner, and it said, you must have the ad-free version to watch this. And I'm like, what? What the hell is this? I'm like, I've never seen this before. And I Googled it, and sure enough, man, if you have the ad-free version of, and this is at least Netflix that I'm aware of, but maybe some other services as far as Paramount, Hulu, and the rest, but Netflix at least, if you do not pay for the ad-free version, you cannot watch certain content of Netflix. And Netflix is totally upfront with it, and they they put it out there. They make a statement in the article that says, while the vast majority of the TV shows and movies are available on the ad-supported plans, a small number are not due to licensing restrictions. These titles will appear with a lock icon when you search or browse them. So the article goes into some more details, but I'll open it up to the group. I did not know about this. I'm wondering if any of you guys, now that streaming is so much more popular, I know you stream a lot, Andy. Is it something that you were aware of?
Well, we don't have Netflix. I know my wife was just talking about it this week. I'm like, when are we gonna have Netflix again? I'm like, not anytime soon. But yeah, the only issue I ran into when Hulu first came out, my sister subscribed to it, and when we lived together, she's like, "Yeah, I got Hulu. It's ad free," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." But I did notice on the shows that were currently on TV at the time, when you would watch them on Hulu, they put a thing up before it started, like, you're legally obligated to show commercials for this episode or something like that. And it was only on the new show, so I'm like, well, what kind of bullshit is this? And I told my sister, and she's just like, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. But so now that it's going on with Netflix, um, it's probably a deal where they have to do certain things, or I don't know what shows or you ran into that had that. If it's like Netflix or they're getting licensed through like other studios, and that might explain why that's going on.
Yeah, because even with the Max with the Penguin, it was funny. There was two commercials at the very start, and then they put up a banner that says, because of these commercials, the rest of the show will be commercial free. And then they show the whole show, and there's no commercials during the watching of the episode. But yeah, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, Noel. Have you? I'm not sure if you even have Netflix.
Definitely don't, man. Netflix, they left a bad taste in my mouth, bro. I got
Really?
it for a couple years back. I haven't had them for like years now, but I
Yeah.
had it a couple years back, and I got it specifically because I wanted to watch an anime that was coming out, and it was like barely released, and it's in Japan, right? So I was trying to see if I could watch it in the US, and it wouldn't work. So I tried to do the VPN that changes your region to Japan, and I did it, and it still wouldn't work. And so I'm just like, you know what, man? Like this is messed up because why am I paying money and I can't even watch the content that's right there? I can click on it, but you won't let me see it. It's like taunting me. It's like teasing me. I'm like, nah, I'm done with this. So I haven't had it since.
Wow, wow. Well, at least were you aware of there's things behind paywalls? I mean, I don't know if you have any subscription services. Like I mentioned, all of mine are with ads, so I don't even know how it is to not have ads.
No, I don't really do the subscription stuff because it's just getting closer and closer to being cable, but with
It
like
is
10
cable.
different bills.
Yeah.
But
Right.
just 10 different bills instead of one, you know?
But they even
No.
they're bundling now together like Apple and
Yeah.
Max and Netflix, and Comcast is offering something similar to that too with Peacock, and like that's what we're going towards anyway. So that's why I'm getting the commercials too. At one point, I was like, I don't like them. We'll get used to it because this is coming. Like everything's gonna have commercials. The only thing I don't have commercials is on Max, and it's part of our like cell phone plan thing. But I'm pretty sure that's gonna change soon.
Yeah, I saw that more and more now that it's actually the week of Black Friday right now. And I saw a lot of the packages were like, oh, Hulu with Showtime or Max
Hmm.
with this, and there was a bunch of like package deals where you would get like two or three services all together. Kind of like originally when what was it where it was ESPN, Hulu, and Disney, I think it was the
Yeah.
original like trilogy, but they're owned by the same company, so it makes sense for the three to kind of have a package all together. But yeah, man, I just thought this was kind of salty. Like me being the cheap guy, I'm willing to stand and wait a few minutes, watch an ad, or not pay attention to it, or whatever the case is. But now it kind of sucks that there's going to be certain content that I'm not going to be able to watch.
It's I was reading an article this week that the streamers are finding out they make more money with having commercials and having the subscribers. The subscribers is like the gravy, but if the commercials are paying a big chunk of all this, and if they make more money with the commercials than the actual subscribers, so that's why it's going to come down to everything's pretty soon is going to have commercials. It's like this year I was reading that I think Hulu made more money on the commercials than they did with the actual subscriber. So it's like it's been reversed, kind of like Pluto TV and the other one, but Pluto is like it's just they
Freeview?
have all TrueView or whatever, Truly or
No.
Tubi.
Tubi,
That's
Freeview.
all be paid by commercials. All they want the what I haven't done with them is create an account with them. But they keep bugging me to create it because I'm like, I don't want to give you my information. But that's what's coming along, dude. The commercials, the advertisement is paying a big chunk of it, and the subscription is just gravy. So it's there's even people speculating like you really don't need to subscribe to it. If they have more commercials, all this shit would be free. But that's like one of the secrets now that they want the subscribers. That's like a bonus for them, but the commercials would pay for everything.
Yeah, so it's going back to like cable
Yeah,
TV, man. Yeah.
yeah, it was that it was like a big thing. One of the blogs, and he started talking about like, yeah, this is like it's getting crazier. It's like commercials are going to be everywhere soon again because they're making a lot of money with commercials and less with subscribers. That's why it's been cheaper. But if they get people to pay, it's great. I mean, it's just like a nice, it's a little extra gravy. But the commercials, that's why they're always like, we need more subscribers because like we got all these people here, and then they could target your advertising a little better too.
Right. Yeah, I know it's got to bug the newer generation more so. I mean, I know you got a similar story, Andy, but I remember Junior when he was first born and he was young. It was before there was a commercial option. Everything was basically commercial free. So he would watch his Hulu or whatever, and he would be able to watch his Ninja Turtles back to back to back, SpongeBob, and no interruptions. And then we go to visit the family, and I think it was at Alana's grandma's house, and he's watching SpongeBob on Nickelodeon, and then there's a commercial, and he's just like, "Daddy, what is this?" And I'm like, "Buddy," I'm like, "It's a commercial." I'm like, "They have him on live TV. You got to watch it." And he's just like, "But I want to watch SpongeBob." I'm like, "Yeah, it'll come on in a few seconds. Just wait." And I know you had something similar, right, Andy?
Yeah, my son, when we play a lot of YouTube, even we got like Disney Plus, we'll put on like cars and the commercials. He's like pissed off that there's commercials on YouTube. They're like notorious. They used to have like the live channels for kids, and there were no commercials. Now there's commercials. He's literally like punching the tablet, like, "What's with this fucking commercial? Hurry up!" And I'm like, "Give it a minute." And he's just they're like pushing and yelling, like hurry up. I'm like, or what he does now is like, man, commercial. He'll just click on something else, and a lot of the times it starts instantaneously. So it just starts, and you don't got to deal with a commercial for a little bit. He's like, man, it's commercial. Screw this. I'm going to another YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think it's going to affect more the newer generation. To me, it doesn't bother me to watch the ads, but it's going to suck if there's going to be certain content that's behind ads. So I'm going to have to learn how to live with that portion of it.
But think about it, Peacock, everything has commercials, even the premium. They don't even call it ad free, they call it premium. You just see less of them and there's more commercials. So I think, like I said, that's the new trend. And like I said, it's all about money. If they were making a ton of money on just subscribers, that's how they would keep it. But it came out that like they're making a lot more money having commercials than subscribers.
No, for sure, I bet.
Yeah, it actually reminds me, I do still have one streaming service, and that's Amazon Prime, because I'm part of the membership for the full year. And I always renew it because I buy a lot of stuff from there. So it does come with the Prime Video, and I do have to watch ads, but at least it's at the beginning, not during, because that really bugs me is when you have to watch ads and you're in the middle of like a badass scene, like, John Wick's about to kick some ass, and then boom, now you're watching like a freaking a Bayer Tums commercial. It's like, oh, you have a stomach ache? It's like, dude, I was just watching John Wick. What the hell? So, but one good thing that we got away from cable, and like is the benefit of these streaming services, is being able to choose what you want to watch when you want to watch it. You could pause it and all that. Whereas back in the day, you're watching something on TV and it's on TBS, and you want to go take a piss, well, you're gonna miss 2 minutes of whatever it's on,
when the commercial comes on.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm right now, the game I'm playing, which, like I mentioned, I'm halfway through, is Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's a scene where it's like a flashback when he's a kid, and he walks up to like the TV guide, and he's just like, "Oh man, that zombie movie was on last night. I missed it. I guess I'm gonna have to wait until the rerun comes on." Because yeah, that's how it was back in the day. If you missed it live, you had to wait for the rerun.
And sometimes you have to have the TV guide and be like, when is this coming on? When is that coming on? It was a nightmare compared to now. Like you could just choose whenever, and pause it and do what you got to do. So yeah, I'll give it that. Streaming services did come pretty far from what it was back in the day with cable, but yeah, I don't know about this ad stuff, man. I don't know about having to pay extra just to be able to watch what you should be able to watch from your general subscription. But anyway, guys, that wraps things up for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, please follow us on X at FFR Podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions, the email to drop that is ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir, man. I'm hungry. I smell bacon, man. I wonder what my wife is cooking. But for all of you out there, man, this is probably the last episode before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you all. Enjoy your time with your family.
For sure. And we got Andy here as well.
It's all good, Andy. We want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and enjoy those subscriptions while they can, because you're going to be flooded with commercials probably in the next year, I'm thinking.
Well, man, we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, we wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
was cool, Dad.